Hello good people and welcome to Dual Markets Academy. In our today's session, we are going to talk about how to set support and resistance lines. It is important to note support and resistance is one of the most common strategies used for technical analysis. There are quite a number of strategies used for technical analysis, but for a start or for somebody who is just beginning to trade, you don't need to master more than 2 strategies for you to be able to move on with trading. So mastering support and resistance, which is the most commonly used tool for technical analysis, it is very important for your trading journey. These support and resistance, they are the key points of interest which will define the entry and exit points for a trader. So mastering how they are done or how they are plotted, you'll be able to make informed decisions on when to enter and when to exit the markets. We cannot just talk about support and resistance without referring to the most important price points for a candlestick. And when we are talking about these candlestick points, we refer to the point at which the price opened, the highest point that price might have gone, the lowest point that price went, and also the closing point just before moving to a new time frame. So for example, for a bullish candlestick, as you can see on this diagram, the price opens at this point. The lowest point it went, it's shown here. Then it moved all the way to the highest point before it closing higher than the opening point. So that forms a bullish candlestick, which shows the buyers have overpowered the sellers. For a bearish candlestick, which also provides the important price points, we have the price opening at this point, goes higher at this level, it goes all the way down to the lowest point, but again closes just below the opening point, which means the sellers have overpowered the buyers. That forms a bearish candlestick. And for us to be able to show or demonstrate how you plot these support and resistance lines, we need to pick the most important price points out of these candlesticks. And I have to demonstrate this to you on a trading platform. And that's why we are jumping onto the MT5 platform for me to show you exactly how you identify the most important price points and how to plot it just before you put in the support and resistance lines. Remember, we have said these support and resistance points will enable you to identify your entry and exit point. Moving on to the screens, the first thing you need to do is to define on what time frames are you going to work on. So are you working with the shorter time frames, that's anything between 5 minutes up to 1 hour, or are you working with the higher time frames, that's 4 hours all the way to the monthly time frame? Once you identify that, the first thing is to select that time frame. In this case, we are going to select the 4-hour time frames. On the 4-hour time frames, you can be able to see we have the candlesticks forming for that specific time frame. But as we had said, you need to identify at what point did these prices close at in order for you to identify the most opportune points for both support and resistance. So in our case, or in our example here, the only way to pick the points at which the price is closed, it's by using the line graph. Go at the top of your trading platform. You have the line chart, the candlesticks, and it's at this point whereby you are supposed to select the line graph. So you'll have something as displayed on our screens here. So for you to draw the support and resistance lines, you need to pick the most opportune points. And in this case, say for example, we start with these points here, showing the highest point the price closed at. So we have point A here, say point B here, and we have several points here which define at what point did the price close at. So again, at the top left, you pick the horizontal line marker. So you pick that and you identify the points where to place your horizontal line. So in this case, we have picked 3 points. So we have point A here, point B, and point C here. That's one of the opportune moments or opportune points for our resistance. Then you can pick other points down the line. We have a point here, we have another point here, and several points here. So we pick a line, bring it down here, and you're able to select like another point, point 2, point 3, point 4, and another point here, point 5. So you try to pick the best line of it. You can also identify other points by picking your horizontal line from the top left corner. Then you pick several points at the bottom. So we have point here, we have another point here, the third and the fourth point at the far right. So with these 3 lines, you are able to identify the support and resistance points for the 4-hour time frame. If you can put back your candlesticks, when you have the candlesticks, it might not be easy for you to identify these points. At what point was each and every candlestick closing at? That's why with the help of a line graph, you're able to identify the most important or the most common point at which the price was closing at. So you select the line graph, it gives you the opportunity to draw the support and resistance lines without much effort. Put the candlesticks back and then you're able to continue with your trading. If you go for the lower time frames, say for example the 30-minute time frame, and we select the 30-minute time frame, remember with the shorter time frames, you need to have very strict stop losses as well as the take profit points. So with an example here for 30-minute time frame, you can see the prices are moving up and down quite often. But with the help of the line graph again, you're able to identify the most opportune points for your support and resistance. So in this case, say for example, we are picking the resistance. We pick our horizontal line here. Then we have several points at the top. So we can draw the support and resistance. The resistance at that point. So we have a number of points we have picked, the best line of it, and there's another point here and another point here. So we have about 4 to 5 points for our support, for our resistance. Then we can also pick another point here. There's one point, another point there, third point, and a fourth point there. Then we can also pick the third line to give us another area of interest. So remember, when you put back the candlestick, it looks a little bit messy for you to be able to identify these support and resistance lines. But once you pick the line graph, it gives you the opportunity now to be able to draw these points without much effort, and it becomes a little bit more clear. So once you have put these support and resistance levels, you can now make the decision whether to enter take a position or to exit based on your trading plan. So that way, it will give you that opportunity to identify which are the best points for me to draw the support and resistance. So remember, here we're working with the candlesticks. We are picking the points at which the price is closed at, depending on the time frame we pick. And in this case, we are only able to identify these using the line graph. And once you pick the line graph, give you that opportunity to draw the lines, and you are able to identify your entry and exit points. So that brings us to the end of our discussion today, and we have been able to see how we can clearly draw the support and resistance lines in order to help us to identify our entry and exit points. Kindly leave us a comment, subscribe, and hit the notification button so that you'll be notified once we release our next video. Thank you, and bye-bye for now.